Hi, everyone, and welcome to Come On Out English, our live stream on the Eiken exam. For those of you watching us live, please say hi in the comments. Let us know where you are watching from. And as I said, today we will focus on Eiken Exam Grade 2 and specifically one of the writing tasks. Now, joining me for the first part of today's webinar is Fabi. Fabi, how are you today?
Hi, Xander. I'm good, thank you.
Great. Why don't you
Okay.
welcome those watching with us?
皆さん、こんばんは。カマーナーティングリッシュの先生のファビーと申します。ご参加いただいてありがとうございます。今回のウェビナーでは、英語のライティングテストの対策についてご説明します。この試験は B1 レベルの学生を対象なので、日本語通訳はありません。よろしくお願いいたします。どこから来たかチャットにぜひ書いてください。よろしくお願いします。
Thank you very much, Fabi. So as Fabi said, we won't be doing Japanese translations for today's whole webinar because this exam is specifically for B1 English speakers. So maybe you are preparing for the Eiken Grade 2 or maybe the Pre-2 exam, or you just would like to improve your writing skills in English. And so if you are today, you are in the right place to go on this journey with us as we look at the Eiken Exam Grade 2 writing task number 2. Now, there are two writing tasks in the Eiken Grade 2 exam. The first one is a summary, and the second one is the one that we'll be speaking about today. This is also a little bit longer writing exercise. So this is one that is quite difficult for many people, and we want to help you today to master this question in the Eiken Grade 2 exam. Now, a few things that we want to talk about today is we want to look at what the writing task actually is. We want to look at strategies for how you can prepare for the writing task. And then also we want to look at how the scoring works for this specific writing task to make sure that we help you to pass this task to the best of your ability. So starting out today, let's first look at this specific question type of the writing section. All right, so this question type is called an English composition. Now, my first question to you, if you're watching us live or maybe if you're watching the recording, what do you think an English composition is? Right? Go ahead and type in the chat. Tell us, what is an English composition? I'm going to give you about 4 or 5 seconds to think about that. Let us know, what is an English composition? Okay, quite a difficult word in the English language. But although it is a difficult word, it's actually very simple. An English composition is something that is put together from different parts in English. So the word composition means it has different parts that you put together to form something that is complete. So that is specifically the task for Eiken Exam Grade 2. The second writing task is you need to create an English composition. Now, what are some of the details for that composition that you have to keep in mind? You will get one topical question, all right? You will then also need to write your own opinion on the topic. So they will give you a specific topic, generally 1 or 2 sentences, and they want you to give your own opinion by writing an English composition, and you need to use between 80 and 100 words in total. I always tell my students that you don't want to write less than 80 words and you don't want to write more than 105 words. All right, so you want to try and get as close to 100 words as you possibly can, given your own opinion. All right. Secondly, you also have to give 2 reasons for your answer. So you need to give your opinion but then you've got to give reasons for why you believe that opinion. This is very, very, very important that you give 2 reasons, not 1 reason, but 2 reasons. All right. Thirdly, you will also see 3 suggested points that you can use to write your reasons. So they will give you the topic, and then they will give you 3 points that you need to use 2 of those to create your reasons. Now, in the Eiken exam, they tell you that you don't have to use their reasons, but you can if you want to. I always tell people it's better to use at least 1 of the reasons that they give you. So they will give you generally 1-word points, and you can use them to write your reasons. So to recap, this task is an English composition, meaning different parts that you need to put together to create a full essay. And in that essay, they will give you a topic. You need to write your own opinion using 80 to 100 words, giving 2 reasons for your opinion, and also using 1 or 2 of their suggested points that they give you in the Eiken exam. All right. Now, in terms of the scoring, right? So when they mark or grade your English essay, okay, they look at 4 different parts. And so in our course, we also teach people how to make sure that you include or use all of these different parts in your essay. The first part is grammar. So they will look at your grammar, making sure you use the right tenses, sentence structures, things like that. And they will give you a total of 4 points for grammar. So if you make some mistakes, maybe you will get a 2 out of 4 or even a 3 out of 4 for grammar. The second part is content, okay? Meaning your actual reasons and your opinion. How good is your opinion? How good are the reasons that you give for your opinion? Also, 4 points for that one. Section number 3 is vocabulary. This is quite an important one. So you need to make sure you use good vocabulary in your essay, and you can also get 4 points if you use very good vocabulary. And finally, the last part is your structure, meaning what is your first paragraph, second, third, and fourth paragraph. You need to make sure that you have a good structure in your essay. And today we will also talk about what your structure should be in this essay task. All right, so let's get started with this specific essay task called the English composition. Now, you need to, as I said, they will give you a topic, all right? And we're going to look at an example of a topic first before I tell you how you should complete this task, all right? So let's take a look at an example topic, right? So read with me this specific example topic. It says, today, some companies ask delivery companies to put packages by their doors instead of receiving them directly. Do you think this kind of service will become more common in the future? So this is generally the topic structure that they will give you. They give you 1 sentence making a statement, and then they will ask for your opinion. All right, they will generally ask, do you think this kind of service will become more common in the future? So this is the topic that you will receive. All right. Now, the first part, okay, of your essay or your English composition should start with you writing your opinion on the topic or question, meaning you need to say, yes, I think so, or no, I don't think so. So for this topic, you would need to say, yes, I think this kind of service will become more popular in the future, or you need to say, no, I don't think this kind of service will become more popular in the future. So that's the first part of your English composition structure. You need to share what you think. You think yes, or you think no. So let's look at an example of your first part, giving your opinion. So you can say, if you agree with this topic, you can say something like, I think this kind of service will become more common in the future. Now, something very important to see here is that you use the keywords from the topic when you give your opinion. So you can see in the opinion, it says, I think this kind of service will become more common in the future. So we can clearly see that we used the keywords from the topic. We use this phrase, this kind of service will become more common in the future. We use the words from the topic that they give us to give our opinion in the first part of our English composition. So that's part number one. You need to start by giving your opinion first. The second part of your English composition is where you write your first reason. Remember that we said you have to give 2 reasons for your opinion. The second part is where you give your first reason. So you write your first reason. Now, it's very important here that you start with something like first or firstly to show the person that this is reason number 1, okay? This is very, very important for your structure. And also remember to use one of the points that they provide you, okay? It's very, very important to use one of the points that they provide you. Okay, so part 1, you give your opinion. Remember to use the keywords from the topic. Part 2 is giving your first reason and starting with first or firstly. All right. Part number 3, okay, or let's maybe first look at an example of this. So here you can see I started with first. Customers can receive packages without being restricted by time and location. They do not have to be at home or worry about what time their packages will arrive. Okay, so as you can see, I started by saying first to show them this is reason number 1. And then I gave a 2-sentence reason for my opinion. So generally, you can give 2 sentences for 1 reason. So reason 1, 2 sentences. Reason 2, also 2 sentences. If we look at the third part of your English composition, this is, of course, where you are going to write your second reason, okay? Write your second reason. Remember I said we need to give 2 reasons for our opinion. And also, you need to start with something like second or secondly to show them this is reason number 2. And also, once again, remember to use one of the points that they provide. All right. Looking at an example is the next sentence. I start by saying, secondly, this kind of service can reduce the amount of delivery companies' work. Drivers do not need to visit customers again if they are not home at the time of delivery. So I give my second reason, and keep in mind, I also gave 2 reasons or 2 sentences for this reason. So reason 1, 2 sentences, reason 2, also 2 sentences, starting with the word secondly. Okay, so you can use second or second. All right. The final part of your structure for the English composition is part number 4, is where you restate your opinion. Now, what does restate mean? Restate means you say it again. Remember, here in part number 1, in the first part, you gave your opinion. You said, yes, I think this kind of service will become more popular in the future. In the last part, part number 4, you need to say your opinion again. But this time, you need to start with something like therefore, meaning the reasons I just gave, therefore, I believe what I believe. Or you can use a phrase like for these reasons, okay? Because you've given them two reasons, then you can say for these reasons. Let's look at an example of this. So I said, therefore, you can also say for these reasons, I think delivery services that do not require customers and drivers to meet will become more common in the future. So again, you just restate, give your opinion again, starting with therefore or for these reasons. Okay, so as you can see, the structure is very, very simple. 4 parts. Part number 1, you write your opinion. Part number 2, you give your first reason, starting with first or firstly. Part number 3, you give your second reason, starting with second or secondly. And then part number 4, you restate, you say your opinion again, starting with therefore or for these reasons. Okay, you got that. So if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat right now if you're watching, or if you're watching the recording, you're welcome to write them in the chat and we will answer those questions in due time. So let's look at some skills, okay? So what are some important skills you need to practice before taking the writing section of the Eiken Grade 2 exam? So first of all, it's important to read the topic, okay? That's step number 1, is you read the topic. Step number 2 is very, very, very important. You need to underline the key words in the question or in the topic. What are the key words? Key words are the most important words from the topic that they've given you. These are also the words you can use when you give your opinion in your essay. Remember, we said use the keywords when you give your opinion. All right. Then, after you have underlined the keywords, you need to ask yourself, what is my opinion? What do I think? What do I believe about this topic? Now, here, it is also important, remember, to give 2 reasons. So you ask yourself, what do I think? Then you ask yourself, why do I think this? And you need to find 2 reasons for your opinion. Remember to use 2 of the points provided. They will give you 3 points. You need to use 2 of those points. All right. So what do I believe? Why do I think that? And give 2 reasons from the 2 points. All right. Then, once you know what your opinion is, you know why it is your opinion, then you need to start writing. So using the key words that you underlined in step number 1, write your first part, giving your opinion, right? You can start this part by using the words I think, or I believe, or my opinion is. Okay, so part 1, when you give your opinion, you start your sentence with I think, or I believe, or my opinion is. All right. Then that brings us to part 2. Now you've given your opinion. Now you need to give reason number 1. What, or write your first reason. Remember to start your sentence with first or firstly. After that, you need to write your second reason. Remember to start your sentence with second or secondly. Then finally, you restate your opinion, meaning you write your opinion again. And can you remember what we need to start our sentence with here? So first reason starts with first or firstly. Second reason starts with second or secondly. And then our final part, the conclusion, starts with therefore or for these reasons. So can you see, for each of the four parts, we have words we need to use to start our part with. So part number one, where you give your opinion, you start with, I think, I believe, or my opinion is. Part number two, where you give your first reason, you can start with first or firstly. Part number three, where you give your second reason, you can start with second or secondly. And then part number four, where you restate your opinion, you can start with therefore or for these reasons. All right, so let's look at an example together. So I want you to please take out a pen and a piece of paper, or maybe open up a Word document on your computer, and let's do one of these writing exercises, one of these English compositions together. Let's do it together. Okay, so at the bottom, we can see our topic. And we can also see right here, we can see our 3 points. So we have topic and we have our 3 points. Now, do you remember what is the first thing we need to do when we get to this task? That's right. We need to read the topic. So go ahead and read the topic. Okay, so the topic says, today, many buildings collect rainwater and then use it in various ways, such as giving water to plants. Do you think such buildings will become more common in the future? So see, we have a topic, statement, and then a question. Do you think such buildings will become more common in the future? That's step one. We read our topic. Step number two is we need to underline the key words in the question. So I'm going to give you 15 seconds to underline or write down the key words, the most important words in the topic. All right, so let's take a look at the keywords in this topic. The first keywords are collect rainwater. Okay, very important words, part of the topic. The next ones are use it in various ways, meaning use it in many different ways. Next ones are giving water to plants. Okay, they give an example such as giving water to plants. The next ones, such buildings, meaning buildings that collect rainwater, such buildings. And then lastly, more common in the future. Those are all your keywords. How many of them did you get right? Or did you have some different keywords? Or did you miss some of the keywords that I just gave you? Right. Now, the reason we underline the keywords, remember, is to make sure that we understand the topic, but also to use them when we give our opinion. In part number 1, we use the keywords to give our opinion. All right. The next step is to decide, what is your opinion? So, do you think such buildings will become more common in the future? Or do you think, no, they won't become more common in the future? I'm going to give you 5 seconds. Think about what your opinion is. Do you agree or do you disagree? Okay. So now that you have your opinion, the next step is to find 2 reasons for your opinion. Now, very, very important. Whether you agree or disagree, now you need to look at the points they gave you. So we have 3 points here: cost, emergency, and technology. Now, when I look at those 3 points, I think cost and technology, they are the easiest ones to write my opinion about and to give my reasons for. Okay, so I'm going to choose cost and technology. Which 2 points do you think you will choose? I'm going to give you 5 seconds, and I want you to choose your 2 points that you will use to give your reasons. All right. Now that you have your 2 points for your reasons, the next thing we need to do is to think of some key words for the point. So if you chose cost and technology, try to think of some good vocabulary you can use with those points. Because remember, one of the scoring areas in this task is vocabulary. So you need to make sure you use good vocabulary in your essay. So let's think of some words for cost. When you think of cost, what words come to mind? What can you think of? I can think of maybe price or cheap or expensive, or maybe reduce price or lower price. Or maybe if we think about technology, I can think of many different words like effective or useful. All right, words like that. So you want to think about good keywords for the 2 points that you chose. Once you've done that, you want to use the keywords from the question. Remember the ones that we underlined here and here and here and here and here and finally over here. We want to use those keywords to write our first sentence where we give our opinion. All right. So remember for part 1 to start your answer with I think, I believe, or my opinion is. So I'm going to give you some time. I'm going to give you, let's say, 30 seconds to write your first part, giving your opinion, using the keywords, and starting your sentence with I think, I believe, or my opinion is. All right. Now that you have your first part written, we will move on to part number 2, where, remember, you need to write reason number 1, your first reason. And can you remember which words do you start reason number 1 with? That's right. We start with first or firstly. Okay, we start with one of those two words. All right. Also here, remember to use one of the points provided. So I chose cost and technology. So in reason number 1, I'm going to give a reason using the point cost. And I'm going to remember some of the keywords that I thought about, like expensive or cheap or price or lowering price or reducing price. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds to write your first reason using one of the 3 points, starting with first or firstly. Remember to write 2 sentences for your first reason. You have 30 seconds. Right. Now that you have your first reason finished, we're going to go to your second reason. And do you remember what we start our sentence with for reason number 2? That's right. We start with second or secondly. Now, for me, because I chose cost and technology, I will use the point technology for my second reason. So remember to use your second point and your keywords and write 2 sentences giving your second reason. You have 30 seconds. All right. Now that our second reason is finished, we will move to the last part of our English composition, and that is to restate your opinion or to write your opinion again. Now, remember, for this part, you need to start your sentence with therefore or for these reasons. Okay, therefore or for these reasons. Okay, remember here you can also use the keywords that we underlined in our passage to restate our opinion. You have 20 seconds to finish part 4 and restate your opinion. right. And there you go. Now you are finished with your English composition. Now remember, after our session today, you can go back and finish some words and finish some sentences and check for mistakes. That's very, very important. Always make sure once you've finished writing your task, always read it through once or twice more to make sure there are no grammar mistakes, no spelling mistakes, that you used good vocabulary, that you gave your opinion, reason one, reason two, and you restated your opinion. Now I'm going to show you what a good answer will be in the Eiken, where you would get almost full marks or almost the highest score that you can get for this writing task. So let's have a look at what I wrote down. And I want you to read mine and compare it and see how close were you to my writing or my English composition. So I wrote, I believe. So did you see here? I started with, I believe. You can start with, in my opinion, or my opinion is, or I think. But I wrote, I believe that buildings which collect rainwater and use it in various ways, you see here, I use the keywords from the topic, will become more common in the future. That's part one. For part two, I started with first. You can also start with firstly. They can save a lot of money by recycling water. It can become expensive. Expensive, one of my keywords for the point, cost. It can become expensive when you use a lot of water. To remember, reduce the cost. That's also one of my keywords from the points. More people would like to collect rainwater for their lives in the future. That's part two. Part three, second, I started with second. You can start with secondly. I said technology helps us to collect rainwater effectively. Many buildings today have devices which collect water and make it clean enough to use. It is also becoming cheaper to have such equipment installed. That's my second point for technology. My first one was for cost. That's part three. Part four, remember, I started with for these reasons, but you can also say therefore. I think the number of buildings which collect rainwater will increase in the future. You see, I use the keywords from the topic there again. And this writing should get very close to the maximum score for this task in the Eiken exam. Always make sure you read it through, check for any mistakes, and also make sure that you count your words. Okay, make sure that you don't have more than 105 words. Make sure you don't have less than 80 words. So after today's lesson, please count all of your words. Make sure you are between 80 and 105 words in total for your English composition. And it's as easy as that, everyone. That's how you do the writing task number 2, the English composition in the Eiken exam, specifically the one for grade 2. Now let's quickly one more time review the structure for the Eiken exam. Part number 1 is you write your opinion on the topic. Make sure that you use the keywords from the topic. Part 2, write your first reason, use one of the points provided, and start your sentence with first or firstly. Part 3, write your second reason, use one of the points provided, and start your sentence with second or secondly. And then finally, part 4, restate your opinion, start your sentence with therefore or for these reasons. All right, and that's it, everyone. I want to give you some homework before we finish today. I have 3 exercises that I would like you to practice after today's lesson. And the first one is this one. I want you to please take a screenshot of this exercise, save it to your computer, and make sure you try this one after today's lesson. Okay, I'm going to take another one that I want you to try, and that's practice question number 2. Please take a screenshot of this one, save it to your computer, and try and do it on your own, following the structure that I've given you today. And then lastly, practice question number 3. Please take a screenshot of this one, save it to your computer, and try it later today and see if you can complete all 4 parts that I gave you in today's session. All right, friends, thank you very much for joining today's lesson. If you like this lesson, give it a thumbs up, like the video, comment in the comment section. But also, we want to give you a free gift today. If you like this lesson and you would like to book a free lesson with us at Come On Out English, you can just take out your phone, scan this QR code, and you can book a free 50-minute lesson if you want to learn a bit more, or if you want to take our Eiken Exam course. We have full Eiken Exam courses focusing on reading, listening, writing, speaking for all the grades from grade 5 all the way to grade number 1. And if you would like us to help you prepare for the Eiken exam, please schedule a free consultation with us today by scanning the QR code on the screen or click the link that I'm putting in the chat right now to schedule your first free consultation with us at Come On Out English. With that said, friends, thank you very much for joining our session today. We really enjoyed having all of you here. If you want more information or if you have any questions, feel free to send us an email or schedule your free consultation with us, and we would like to have a conversation with you. But with that said, have a nice day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.